Bitcoin is banking the unbanked in El Salvador. All aboard. Now, is this actually true? In my view, I don't think it what the reality is matching up with these headlines that we've been seeing. Now, in my quest to be the Bitcoin bear of all bears, now I'm just playing. I actually kind of like the idea of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but when it comes to a lot of these just statements of just crazy grandeur about this asset, I just find it hilarious. And I just want to point out some of the things that I've been seeing here. And this is one of the statements that I've been seeing floating around on Twitter that I want to respond to. Now, the idea behind this, as you can see here by this subheadline, embracing cryptocurrency as legal tender. The idea is sparked by about 70% of citizens being unbanked in El Salvador. And with them adopting Bitcoin, it would help them become banked, because then they'll have access to Bitcoin wallets, they'll have forced savings, and then from there they'll have an interest rate applied to the money that they set aside, and then they'll have just instant savings, and then also they'll be able to possibly transact in goods and services using Bitcoin. Okay, cool, fine. But what's the reality here? Check this out. This comes from Thomson Reuters Foundation News. Last month, El Salvador became the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, but many poorer or older people are struggling to make sense of it. Here's why. So let's go down this thread here and see what they have to say. No internet or smartphone access. About half of Salvadorans have no internet access, according to the World Bank. That is huge, because at the end of the day, when it comes to Bitcoin, you need internet access. And if 70% of the population is unbanked, and this is the strategy to make them, 70% of the population is unbanked, and this is the strategy to make them banked, half of the population wouldn't even be able to use this strategy. Check this out. The ones facing the most hurdles are the country's poorest communities, older people, and those living in rural areas. So again, if you are poor, you may be unbanked, and you also may not have internet access. So if you actually multiply that 70% by that 50%, that's about 35% who won't even be able to engage in this. Let's continue. Poor confidence in Bitcoin. Suspicion about Bitcoin is widespread in El Salvador, according to UCAES, which is Universidad para el Cambio Social, so the University of Social Change in El Salvador. 9 out of 10 said that they did not have a clear understanding about the digital currency. 8 in 10 said they have had little or no confidence in its use. So they won't be using it, transacting goods and services, about 8 out of 10, almost the majority. And 9 out of 10 just don't understand it, point blank, period. Data concerns. Even the tech savvy, so these are probably people who are banked, even the tech savvy have raised questions. The fast adoption meant there was little time to set up regulations that safeguard personal data. How will data be stored? Who will have access? And what can it be used for? Let's continue. So far, about a quarter of El Salvador's 6.4 million people are using Bitcoin, and that's according to the president. So that is a good sign for general adoption. But the thing about it is that a large percent of that population, this is going to be the poorer population, you need them to spend in the economy. And if you're expecting usage to be adopted by a large percent of the economy, and 50% don't have internet access, it's hard to make the argument that people in El Salvador will really take to Bitcoin for, you can say for savings or for just general goods and services, transactions in goods and services. So my whole thing with this is that it makes for a good headline. And then a lot of people have been talking about Bitcoin being used or volcano activity helping with Bitcoin mining, so on and so forth. But is this something that will help the unbanked in El Salvador? I don't think so. Is this something that maybe people who have, large firms in El Salvador, maybe even the government, is this something that they're using for their own end? I would more likely line up with that conclusion than by saying that adoption of Bitcoin by people, about 50% of the population, will happen. Because again, 70%, about 50% don't have access to the internet. So guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. I know we have some people on this channel that are interested in Bitcoin. Again, I don't hate cryptocurrency. I don't hate Bitcoin, even though I make a lot of videos about, downing it. But I usually am just coming out of it just coming at it with a sense of just general reality and suspicion, because there are a lot of people on Twitter, especially, who make these grand claims about Bitcoin. And actually, I'm on Twitter, and I've been bookmarking a lot of these claims, and I'm hoping to basically just kind of like add them all up and maybe even just publish them as a book, but just check out some of these claims. This is why I kind of give so much crap to Bitcoin sometimes. It's not because of the actual Bitcoin, but it's more so about the people behind it. So far I have 3 of these things. One of them is, in a Bitcoin standard, divorce rates will be lower. Thoughts? Like, come on. Tyler Winklevoss here. When you realize that Bitcoin solved money, it's a very powerful thing. Come on, man. The part of the story that no one wants to accept is that most people across Bitcoin and crypto are right. Rather than fighting each other over the details, remember that this small percent of the population sees the future much clearer than the majority. This all sounds like a cult of personality just talking to their minions and saying, do not think otherwise. Bitcoin is going to be the final end all be all of money. This is insane. So I just want to essentially get people to think outside the box and just think in general. So even if you don't agree with me, tell me why, and I'd be happy to talk to you in the comment section. So that's my view. Let me know what you think.